What are the best outlining apps you can use today for your articles, stories, books, and for your writing? Hi there, my name is Brian Collins. Welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. I've spent a few months testing out various different types of outlining apps because I believe it's a fantastic way to write faster, to figure out what you want to say before you try to say it, and even to collaborate with other writers. So in this video, I'm going to walk through some of the best outlining apps which you can try for your writing. Hope you enjoy the content in this video all about outlining apps. If you do, hit thumbs up, and if you want to get more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The first outlining app that's worth your attention and which is easy to use and exceptionally well polished is Workflowy. Workflowy has actually been around in various forms since 2010, so you can be assured you're getting a writing or outlining app which works and which is fast and easy to use. And a lot of people use Workflowy, including Ev Williams, the founder of Medium and Twitter, and some other authors and writers and even journalists. Workflowy is relatively affordable as writing apps go. You can use the free version for free, but to be honest, you're not going to get very far because there is a strict limit on what you can do inside of Workflowy with the free version. You can only have approximately 250 bullets, which you'll get through pretty quickly. So you'll actually need to pay $4.99 per month to use Workflowy, or you can take out an annual subscription either. Now I've used the premium version of Workflowy on and off, so I'm going to open up Workflowy so you can see what it looks like. So this is the Workflowy outlining app, and basically it works on a parent versus child node. So you can use Workflowy for lists and for article outlines and lots more. So I have a book reading list inside of Workflowy of all books that I'd like to read. And to show you how the parent or child node feature of Workflowy works, so I can navigate into any of these books, go one level deeper and start putting down my notes about the book, what I liked, what I disliked. And then I can go one level deeper again, and then I can start putting in additional notes. So it's a good way of zooming into your writing and also to figuring out what you want to focus on. And of course, then I can navigate backwards as well. And I can expand and collapse on these parent and child nodes. And Workflowy is incredibly friendly with keyboard shortcuts. So that's why it's a great outlining app. You can see they're all here in the right-hand sidebar. So it doesn't take too long to learn. And there is a mobile app as well. So I really like Workflowy. If you're looking for an outlining app, I'd actually recommend starting with this one because it does quite a lot, and it also has some good collaboration features too, which I actually haven't shown you. So if I click on the three dots here, I can click on share, and then I can enable link sharing, and I could potentially share this with another writer. So if I was doing an article outline inside of Workflowy, I could share this with someone else on my team or someone else that I was working with. Workflowy has some other features which I like as well. So it's not just an outlining app. You can actually use it for planning out what you want to do. And I've experimented with this, and you can basically filter by dates. So if I click on the date icon here and I click next month, I can see different things that I'm planning to do in May and in June. Now my workflow video review on the channel, which you go and check out, I go into these features in more detail so you can see how they work. Now there is a competitor to Workflowy which has some additional features and which handles outlines a little bit differently. So if you're not familiar with the competitor, it's called Dynalist. Dynalist is free to use, so in the free version you actually get more than you get in the free version of Workflowy. There's not a restriction on the number of bullets, so I'd recommend taking out the free version if you're really on a budget, and then when you're ready you can take out a premium version for $7.99 per month. So that'll mean it'll be slightly more expensive than Workflowy, but it has advanced features like custom CSS, custom shortcuts, and so on, which you probably only really need these if you're a hardcore outliner. The free version pretty much does everything that I'm going to show you now. There is desktop and mobile apps. So here is my Dynalist app for Mac. So I have opened the desktop version of Dynalist for Mac, and like Workflowy, it's incredibly keyboard friendly. So you can see all the keyboard shortcuts on the right hand side, which you can customize if you take out the premium version. It works the same as Workflowy, except it uses files and folders rather than parent and child nodes. I go into a bit more detail about how those work in the Dynalist review, which you can also check out on the channel. But to show you it in action, here is a master file where I have all different videos that I'm going to record for 2 different channels over the next few weeks. So I have one here about best paraphrasing tools, and like Workflowy, I can just click on the plus and I can move these up and down. And then I can zoom into individual bullets, and then I can start writing individual notes in the bullets. If I'm so inclined, I could potentially turn these into checklist items. or I can just simply press Control Enter or Command Enter and tick them off as I do them. And I can go backwards and forwards using the keyboard. I can also share a Dynalist note with other people. So I use this sometimes to collaborate with other writers. So to show you how that works, I'm just going to go back to the file pane. And these are some writers that I'm working with at the moment. So this is a guy called David, and I've given him an article outline, and I will just share this Dynalist file with him, and then he's able to get what he needs to write the article in question. So I really like Dynalist. I actually use it a bit more than Workflowy because it has a few more features, I suppose, for power users, but both apps will get the job done for your outlines. The next outlining app we're considering, if you're writing long form, if you're writing fiction or novels, is Scrivener. Again, it's available on Mac OS and Windows. There is a bit more of a learning curve than some of the other apps that I've talked about, but you can take out a free trial before you decide to buy the premium version. I do have a review of Scrivener on the Become a Writer Today site, which you can look for. So I'm in Ireland. These prices are in euro, so do convert those to dollars if you're in the US. Now, I've used Scrivener for years to write books and for long form writing, and it does have some outlining features. So I have open here a Scrivener file for a parenting book that I wrote last year in 2021 and in 2020. So you can just do a sample outline using bullet points like this. Idea 1, idea 2. And you can have each item that you've added to your outline as a file within a folder in Scrivener. Now, how this helps with outlines is if I highlight all of these, and then I can click this here, and then I can see these as index cards, and then I can drag them from one section to the next, and I can also go in and write a summary of what the index card is about. So basically you could, write a couple of hundred words or a couple of bullet points about a chapter in your book or a story, and then you can have a few of these different files, and then when you have kind of a cohesive narrative, then you can zoom out and view an outline of your book or your long form writing as a type of index card and drag it around. So this is a good way of kind of zooming out from your writing and visualizing it. Probably works best for long form writing, rather it could be overkill for articles, but Scrivener is great if that's the type of writing that you're engaged in. The next outlining app to consider is one that you may have access to if you're working a full-time job and your employer has a Microsoft Office 365 subscription for you, or perhaps you're already using Microsoft Office 365. It's Microsoft OneNote, and it comes bundled with the Microsoft Office Suite, which costs approximately $100 per year. So OneNote is a type of digital notebook. So you can use this in the web browser, which is where I'm using it at the moment, or download desktop app for Mac or Windows. Basically, when you go into OneNote, you can just create bullet points. You can add images, files, and other Word documents, and so on. So it has a quick notes section where you can capture quick notes about something that you're outlining, and you can break or you can add individual pages. So if I was writing an article, let's say best apps, excuse the typo, what I could do is Microsoft and then I could build out my outline like this, and then I could just refer to this when I'm ready to record the video or write the article. And then when I'm working on a different project, I could give this a different page. So let's say I'm doing best grammar checkers. I also have a video about best grammar checkers on the channel if you're interested. And then I could just again build out an outline. And then of course you can break these into sections as well. So I could call this videos, and I could call this one articles. And that way you could have a way of organizing your outlines as pages, and then organizing your pages into sections in Microsoft OneNote. And of course it's integrated with the Microsoft Office Suite, so you can drag and drop your Microsoft Word documents and so on into it. I did use OneNote when I was working for a corporate company. I don't use it much anymore because I'm not a big fan of the Microsoft Office Suite, just because it reminds me too much of working in a corporate company. But if you have access to it and you don't want to pay for anything, then it is a good choice. The next outliner app to consider is called CheckFist. It's supposed as a competitor to Dynalist and Workflowy, and that it's incredibly keyboard friendly, and it's also really affordable. So $3 or nearly $4 per month, or $39 per year. So it's not going to cost you that much. You can add attachments, you can sync with Google Calendar, you can use it for to-do lists as well as your outlines, and so on. And it also has collaboration features. Anyway, if you want to try it out, just visit the CheckFist work site. You don't even need to set up an account. You can just press enter here, and you can immediately start adding items into your CheckFist list. So you can see here they have some examples. You can use it for managing tasks. You can use it for managing projects. You can use it for doing research. And of course, you can use any of the apps that are featured for these things. So they do have a section here explaining how you can use it for outlines. So if I press Shift and right, then I can zoom in to this individual section, much like I was showing you with Workflowy. And if I press Shift and left, I can go back. And I'm using the arrow key here to navigate upwards and downwards. I'm pressing space to tick items off. And of course, I can expand and collapse these bullets. And it is, of course, incredibly keyboard friendly as well. So if I was creating an outline, I pressed enter here. So intro the article, explain how to create outlines. And then if, let's say I was looking at this section and I wanted to go into a bit more detail, I'd use the keyboard shortcut, press Shift, press the right arrow, press enter. For stories, for novels, interviews, and so on. So again, you know, I like this because it's keyboard friendly, and they have lots of different examples of how to use it, and it's also relatively affordable. So CheckFist is definitely one to consider if you don't like how Dynalist and Workflowy work and you want to, I suppose, not be in a Microsoft ecosystem. The next app to consider for your outlines is actually an app that does a lot more than outlines. It's meant as a kind of a personal knowledge database, as a tool for managing your to-do lists and for lots more. The sheer array of use cases is actually, I found it a little bit overwhelming, but I know Notion has a cult following and lots of people love it. So Notion is free to try. You probably need to pay at least $4 a month to get the most from it. If you're collaborating with other people, you need to pay $8 a month. But to be honest, you're not going to go wrong with the $4 a month version. Now, I did experiment with using Notion for outlines. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can just create a quick note and just jot down some text, much like I showed you in Microsoft OneNote. And then when you click on the plus, I can change this to a page, and then I can go into that page and write more information, or I can change this to a to-do list like the ones I have down here. So I could potentially use a to-do list as an outline for my article, or I can just use keyboard shortcuts and just go up with the old-fashioned bullet point 1 and then indent it, bullet point 2. And the other, I suppose, key selling point of Notion is that these are all blocks, so I can just drag these around. So if I move this down here, and I can move this one beneath it. So it's a good way, I suppose, of interacting with your outlines with your mouse, and I suppose turning them into subpages where you can add more information, like I showed you in Dynalist or Workflow. And you can also add rich media, links and imagery and so on. And they do have lots of different templates and examples. So let's go to the reading list. Book lists are always a good way to see how you can use these types of apps. And you can see here that you can actually turn your outlines into tables. To be honest, I didn't use Notion that much because I found the sheer array of features overwhelming. I prefer using a dedicated to-do list manager for my to-do lists, and I use Obsidian for my personal knowledge database, and I do have a video about that elsewhere on the channel. But if you're already in Notion and you like how it handles blocks and you like that it can combine everything into one app, then it is a good option for your outlines, and you can of course share these outlines with other team members as well, so it is one to consider. Another popular outline to consider, particularly if you're working in a company, is OmniOutliner. It's available for Mac. There is a 14-day free trial. Pricing is comparable to Workflowy and Dynalist. It starts at $4.99 per month or $49.99 per year. As you can see here by the demo on the site, it's kind of more aimed at people who are working in companies and collaborating with other team members. So you can use it to manage projects, you can expand and collapse your bullets, you can assign dates, resources, and so on. You can pretty much customize anything inside of OmniOutliner. You can also use it to create Gantt charts, Kanban boards, and various types of productivity tools. All of that may be overkill if you're a writer, or you're simply looking to create story ideas or figure out what your book is all about. But that said, it is popular with people who work in businesses and who like to structure ideas for complicated projects. Another option that's worth considering is Apple Notes. Apple Notes is of course free, and you can sync it across all of your devices. It supports rich text, so you can add bullet points. And then you can just use the star to format them, and then I can press enter. And then I can have the bullet points indented. I can add tables. I can add checklists, and then I can lock the note. And then when I'm ready, I can share it with somebody else. I'll have to give it a password to lock it. But then when I'm ready, I can share it with somebody else on the team, and then they can potentially write up the article. So I do use Apple Notes to create outlines for podcasts. To show you an example, here's a folder I have called Interviewee Questions. I recently interviewed Brian Crossan for the Become a Writer Today podcast. At the top of the note, I simply have some information about who he is based on an email conversation. And here I have some questions for Brian. And then I'd refer to this when I'm interviewing Brian, and this will kind of help me outline what I want the podcast episode to be about in advance. That said, although I do like Apple Notes and it's free, I found myself lately gravitating more towards Workflowy and Dynalist simply because they're more keyboard friendly and I can move around the notes or the bullets, so these, using keyboard shortcuts, and I can expand and collapse them like I showed you at the start of the video. But it is a good option. So I hope you enjoyed the content in this video all about outlining apps. If you did, hit thumbs up, and if you want to get more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.